You started, so you were talking to her earlier, talking about pointing out the effort and everything else. That's where the Baldy breakdowns come. Did you know it was going to be as popular as it is?
No, I didn't, Will. So what happened was, my buddy at the NFL Networks is this guy, Daniel Jeremiah. So we used to do this show.
Love Daniel.
DJ's great. So we used to do this show called The Aftermath on Mondays at NFL Network in Los Angeles. So what I always do, back then I was doing a college game on Saturday, an NFL game on national radio on Sunday, and then I would fly to LA. And I get to LA and I wanted to watch as much film as I could on these games before we went to air. So I'd pull some. So anyways, me and DJ lived south of LA, and he would leave early to beat the traffic. So we would get in there like 4 a.m. So we watched tape from like 4 to 8. So one day DJ just like, we see Taylor Lewan with some double teaming, King Henry goes 100 yards. So we put that, I'm like, let me play with that play. So we'd film it off our iPhones, whatever. And I kind of posted some of these things just for fun, and it, a little bit of interest and traction. But then the league suspended me for saying something one time, and it kind of pissed me off. And I was like, "Fuck it!" I'm just going to go in the film room. I'm suspended. I can't. And I started doing breakdowns. Why did you get suspended? I said something about Zeke, on some radio show. Like that maybe he was his rookie year, like maybe they should introduce Zeke to the NFC and maybe like rough him up a little bit. It looks a little too pretty for him. And whatever I said, they took it out of context. So I just started doing breakdowns 2016. I had a flip phone at that time, and my friend said, you should get an iPhone and put it up there and do these videos. So I got an iPhone.
So you went over to the Apple store, got yourself an iPhone?
My buddy took me to the Apple store. I didn't even know where it was.
That's awesome, man.
Traded in the flip phone and got a real iPhone. And but it started getting traction right away. Like I knew the players were watching. I didn't know the fans were going to go so crazy.
Yeah, we watched. Yeah, we talked about it in the locker room, dude. Yeah, you get highlighted on a couple of those things because it was mostly offensive linemen for a little bit, right? And then you started jumping in the D line, and I started kind of all over the place.
I wanted to do
the Commodore, Max Crosby.
Yeah, the Commodore.
Yeah. I nicknamed my game. I started giving these guys the nicknames. They loved it, man. I did Max's podcast out in Las Vegas last year. We became like best friends. I hope he stays with the Raiders, but I think he's just sick of losing, man.
Seems like it. It seems like he kind of wants out of there, huh?
I mean, all he's seen is just, go. Well, you don't know exactly, but like if you're just losing all the time, like you want to be a Raider, you know what it stands for. You want to be that guy that turns things around, but like they just keep rebuilding and
there's no continuity.
But now he's just like in the prime of his career. Like you're going to spend the prime of your career just on another coach, another GM, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, now
you gotta wonder if Tom Brady's going to turn it around because there's reports coming out saying Tom's running the show over there. He's the one.
We got Spytech. Did you know Spytech?
What is Spytech?
He was a Michigan guy.
Okay.
He played with Tom at Michigan.
Spytech.
Yeah, he was a Michigan guy. He wasn't much of he was there with Tom. Then he went to Tampa. He went to Philadelphia, went to Tampa with Jason Light. He's been there. He's been part of that group, and so he gets a GM job. Mm-hmm. Brady knows him, so you feel like, okay, you blow out Telesco, you bring in Spytech. All right, you blow out Antonio Pierce. Like I don't know if Pete is Tom's guy or not, but it seems like he's got a lot to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Pete, man, that's an awesome addition.
Pete Carroll getting back in the game. Is that a confirmed thing?
That's official.
That's official.
He's a coach.
Yeah, I mean, you got Pete Carroll. I'm just thinking like I did post like Pete Carroll was the guy, but I feel like we're kind of talking like we don't know who's running the ship with the Raiders. But I feel like Pete Carroll, monster. It could be somebody Max stays, and plays for.
Yeah, the energy that guy has, too. 2007, I went to an all-star camp at USC, had no offers at the time.
Yeah.
And I got to meet Pete Carroll. This is like when USC was USC. And I'm like, hey, Coach Carroll, nice to meet you. Trying to be as formal as possible. Yeah. Right? Like, please, God, just look at me and give me an opportunity. Right. And he like slaps my hand out of the way and gives me like this big hug. And I was like, bro, this fucking guy, his energy. He's like the first guy to introduce the basketball hoop into the team meeting room. Like, hey, we're shooting for this.
Competition Wednesday.
Had the Matthews brothers on. They're talking about guys taking their shirts off, getting loud. One guy gets so juiced up, he takes all of his clothes off. Like, that's the kind of shit that you want Pete Carroll to bring into the Raiders locker room because he is kind of like the perfect coach for that.
I think he's going to do a good job. I mean, these guys all kind of get rejuvenated a year out. I mean, Pete's got a nice house in North Shore, Hawaii. I'm sure, that.
Sure, he was having a good time. Yeah,
I'm sure it was good for a couple of weeks. But, that guy, I mean, he'll put together a good staff. Mike Solari will be his offensive line coach, guaranteed. Like, he'll have a good staff. And, the guy, I don't know how many cups of coffee he drinks a day. Like, he never sits down. No. Like, he's always up, I think he knows what he's doing.
And him and Harbaugh. getting back after it again. When Harbaugh was at Stanford and Pete was at USC.
No
and
doubt.
And the
Chip
NFC
was
West.
at Oregon.
Yeah.
The Pac-12 was awesome.
That is.
Yeah.
That's going to be so awesome. I saw a clip
Andy Reid, Sean Payton.
Yep.
Pete Carroll.
I saw a clip of Pete Carroll and Harbaugh after a game. I think Stanford like beat the brakes off of USC, and they like shook hands, and he's like, "You all right?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm good. You?" And they like kind of have this like weird like posturing thing on their way, and it's just gonna be awesome to see like the battles that take place with them.
Well, it's gonna be like it's just personal stuff, man.
Yeah,
we're gonna go at it.
That's the stuff you want, though. You want those storylines.
But would you rather have a first-year head coach? You have no freaking idea if that guy's gonna become something great. Like, look at Dan Quinn a second time around. He's always going to have his things that guys are going to be tuned in, plugged in. They're going to be on time, all the discipline. But like his second time around, these guys, Pete right here, like this is his third time. Like he knows what to do. He knows how to put the team together. When he stands up in front of the room, he's got everybody's attention.
Right.
Yeah.
He's got authority.
No doubt. Yeah. I can't wait to see
who are your favorite guys to break down across the league in your Baldy breakdowns?
Well, I love Max. Max because he plays every snap. Nobody plays harder. Like that's that. But like Trey Smith in Kansas City, I love Trey Smith. Lane is just such a technician. It's almost boring, because he's always in the right place. Nobody gets a better start. Like the guy is just, and I'm friends with Lane. Like he's got this barn in his backyard.
Yeah.
So I go over and work out in his barn. It's 10 minutes from NFL Films. So, but you can always meet people over there. There's UFC fighters over there, guys from around the league in the off season. But so, Lane's good. But, honestly, like Malata is a beast for a guy that never played the game in his life and was an Australian rugby player.
That is such a cool story.
It's crazy, So, the linemen are fun, but, like Buda Baker. Like Buda Baker in Arizona, I nicknamed the Cobra. Like the guy just plays the game at a different speed.
Did you do a Baldy breakdown on Buda Baker with Taylor?
With Taylor?
What was that? What year was
what
that?
Happened?
That was 2020.
What did
it was
he
the
do?
Chandler Jones game.
That was a Chandler Jones game.
He put me on my ass
Did
in
he?
the game. Yeah.
Did you see him coming?
No.
Yeah.
Buda,
Stared at him in the eyes. Pre-snap, lined up over me, and it was
Really?
a 2-minute drill, and I just flipped my hips, and he just
because he was coming, he was
down.
picking you, right?
No, he
For a
wasn't
center. He was
picking
just- he was
anything.
just
He was
rushing.
straight up. It was straight
He just
up.
bulled you.
Just bulled me. I had a safety bull me to the ground. It was one of the most the most demoralizing game, and of that game, that was probably the most demoralizing play.
Hey,
And
Do we have
honestly,
that? Do we have the video?
pull it up.
this would be
Also,
hey,
too, when you said Buda Baker, I kind of like I could see facial expressions. I look over at JP. JP's like, I'm thinking to myself,
Hey,
God
what would be a
damn
good
it.
promo, Baldy, to promo this episode is to do a Baldy breakdown on Buda Baker.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, we
dude.
do that.
That'd be so much
Pro Bowl,
fun. For sure.
Pro Bowl safety this year, man. He was awesome. But he's one of
Yeah,
those
he's
guys.
great. He's a good ball player. Good ball player.
But the thing is, it's like, you talk about injuries. He's one of those guys that plays this game at a ridiculous speed.
Yeah.
Like nobody should hit that hard at his size. He's 185 pounds, baby.
This is it. Yeah, this is it right here.
Sorry about this, Taylor. Sorry. It was not my intention.
It's all right. This happens. We need to watch it again.
But that guy plays again. He never gets hurt, man.
And he put one hand on me.
He
He put one hand on
just
me.
a stab.
But look at my
He's
hips.
going down. You're like, no, fuck.
That's a nightmare.
It's already.
That's a
I've already
nightmare
given up. I've already given up 2 sacks in this game, 3 TFLs. Like it's.
Yeah.
That's a mental warfare right there.
That's
You
a,
wanna
that's
see
a
a guy-
sleepless night.
Yeah,
Tell
yeah.
people know that you do not sleep those nights.
You do not say. I mean, you remember? You came over to the house. We just sat in silence in my man
I
cave.
just sat next to him while he just watched
No,
the film.
like,
I was just
literally.
trying to be there for him, just like as a support animal. Like, hey, don't pet the dog. And I just sat next to him like while he watched film that entire
No,
night.
but what
and I would just take deep breaths and go, look at this, man.
But that's the thing.
All
about-
you have to is like nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
you say all those things, but as an offensive lineman, like you can have 70 great plays. If you have one play like that, that's all you think about.
Yeah, the problem-
people don't really understand.
The problem is if there were 70 plays in that game, 65 of them looked like that. that
He
game
just
was-
had a bad day.
Dog,
Had a
that game
bad
was
day.
that was my first game off my first ACL, and I've told the story a bunch, but like I really thought in my head like driving to the stadium, I'm like, this is it, man. This is when you're back on the map. This is
Yeah.
when Baldy breakdowns is going to
Okay,
cover probably
yeah.
all the fucking plays.
Yeah.
That's how I was feeling.
We're on the phone. It's like, hey, get the fight started.
Yeah, get the fight started. First play of the game, Todd Downing's like, hey, when night meetings, first play of the game, 19 Wanda. We're coming behind you, Lewan. We'll
Yeah.
come back to the NFL. Like, I'm like in my head, like, yo,
Yeah.
it's about to go down. First play, we run 19 Wanda. I see Chandler Jones. He sees me. I could tell by his stance, he's going inside.
Yeah.
I take a step, he goes inside. I'm thinking, we've got this
Yeah.
motherfucker about to have an explosive first play. 4-yard TFL. Just looked over there. I'm like, that's so crazy. I saw him, but I couldn't turn. That's wild. Second series, third down.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm great at getting out of my stance. I'm great at getting to the mesh point so they can't beat me on a speed rush. Chandler Jones, elongated, and I'm looking at him like, stop, sack. It was just, dude, play after play.
That's funny. Like you can remember it in your head. It's never going to go away.
It's never going to go away.
Never go away.
And it's like one of the beautiful things. Like I love doing this show, but as long as I do this show, it's going to come up.
It's going to come back
multiple times a year. It's always going to be something, and it's just. It actually hurts just as much right now as we're talking about.
But at least you can laugh about it now.
They got
a lot of pain behind the laugh.
Devondre Sweat was a good guy to break down this year.
Devondre Sweat,
he was a beast, man. I had fun breaking him down.